Okay, I'm in the Starbucks drive-thru lineup and I'm having so many thoughts, but one of them is, first of all, I am like if Edward Cullen and Jacob Black got together and had a baby, honestly, because I'm vampirishly gorgeous. I have vampire teeth for certain. I'm really smart. I know my soul is a million years old. And then I've got the Mi'kmaq ancestors watching over me. Anyways, okay, that's for another video. That will be my life is a movie Twilight video. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is social media. And I think I briefly touched on this in another video, but I want to expand on what I was saying. So how like Instagram culture, like when Instagram first became a thing, it was like everyone was just like posting like whatever the fuck, you know, like blurry photos, whatever. And it was like nothing had to be perfect. And then all of a sudden everything had to be perfect and like, you know, flat lays and just like, even if people didn't have perfect lives, they wanted to make them look perfect to everyone else around them. And I'm going to finish this thought after I get my London fog with oat milk. Okay, so what I wanted to discuss was how like millennials almost like created this social media culture of like being fake online. And I think that's because millennials came directly from like the generations of parents who were like encouraged to like repress themselves, you know, and then it was like that was like before we had social media, but then like millennials got online and they're like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to show everyone else like how perfect my life is, and then they kind of started getting exposed for that, you know, because as we move closer to like the age of Aquarius, it's been more so like Gen Z. Like a really good example of like the difference between how millennials and Gen Z. I'm like I don't know what I'm like. I'm not quite Gen Z, but I'm like not quite the other thing either. I'm a alien, okay? I don't fall into any category. So, but the example I always use of this is how like millennials, like they would cake their faces like full of makeup, like just to hide a little zit, you know what I mean? Whereas like I don't want to say, well, like Gen Zs, we have those star sticker things, and it's like rather than like caking my face full of makeup, like I'll just go out with a star sticker over my zit and I'll be like, hey, like I'm in the process of healing right now, like I have a bump on my face and I'm healing it and I'm being loud and proud about that and I don't care. Whereas millennials, like I said, they'll cover it up, they'll blemish it, like they'll put layers and layers and layers of foundation on top of themselves to like hide and like not be real. And so I feel like social media, like had it just been used like to express authenticity initially instead of like building up the like influencer culture and all this fake stuff, you know, and now we have AI to worry about. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I'll see if I can like loop this all back together. But I think it is very interesting, like the difference in how different generations use social media. And I've also heard it said before that like Facebook and social media did to like my parents' generation and like boomers and stuff, like what they said video games would do to us. Like how many people do you know that are in like their 40s, 50s, 60s and like they're addicted? Like back in the day, maybe it was like Farmville or like Yoville, I think it was, oh my god, or like Slot Mania is like something my parents used to play all the time, or like Candy Crush, just shit like that, you know? It's like it's like this mindless like fake little world, because when they were little, like they couldn't world build in that way, whereas like people my age and younger, it's like all we know how to do is like world build. And if you don't like the world you're existing in, you can just log online and create a fake digital world, and that can be dangerous. That's how echo chambers are created. But you can also just like use the internet to express yourself, and if you don't expect everyone else to agree with you and you're just sharing your point of view, which is what I do, it's totally fine. Okay, I just had another thought on all of this too. So what I was just thinking about was how I was saying like millennials, felt all this pressure to be like perfect or whatever. So not only like did they feel this pressure to like present themselves as perfect online, but then it was like, okay, like BBL culture started becoming a thing, right? And it's like, okay, not only is it like, you know, like a person can look like, if you see them in person, they can look really good, really healthy, whatever, right? But then it's like, if they don't have that like Kim Kardashian hourglass shape, then it was like people were going to plastic surgeons and being like, oh, like I don't like how I look in pictures. It's like, baby, pictures aren't real, but people are spending, like the plastic surgery industry is thriving because people care so much about how they look in photos. And I guess past generations didn't really have to worry about that as much, because it was really only like if you were a celebrity, like you might be out like caught on camera, whatever. But like now it's like these days everyone has camera phones and people are so like wary of being like photographed without their consent, or like, you know, just like appearing like not their best, and you know, just so much shit like that. And so yeah, I'm very glad. Like when I was 19 years old, I thought long and hard about getting a boob job. Like I was like looking at doctors and everything, because I was like, oh, I don't really like, I don't know, I don't feel good in my body. I feel like if I don't have tickle bitties, a man is never gonna love me. And I'm so glad that I didn't end up like believing that as truth. Oh, was just as like Bible, you know what I mean? Because that's like, the amount my body has changed from when I was 19 to where I'm at now when I'm 25 is like astounding. And I'm so glad that I've given myself that room and that grace to like really grow into myself. Like I almost see myself as like the ugly duckling sometimes. Like, and I was never ugly. Like I look back at photos of myself and I'm like, wow, like I was so cute. But it's just like, people always made me feel bad about myself, and I wasn't raised by people with very high self-esteem, so it was like I didn't really have a lot going for me in terms of support. And even now I sometimes don't. So like you know, people meet me and they're like, they think that I'm like such like an amazing person, and like they're right to think that, but then I'm like, you need to understand, like when Kylie Jenner says she's self-made, I mean, she is a Scorpio moon, so like, yeah, I'm sure she's done a lot of evolving in her own life. But like, I myself have taken myself from circumstances where I was just disempowered. I had nothing going for me. I have mental illness, and I have turned that around, and I am one of the smartest, happiest people I know. And I feel like one of the most aware of what's going on and how I can stay in control of my vibration. And like, yeah, like, am I perfect? No, absolutely not. But I trust the direction I'm headed in. Even if I don't know exactly, like, say where I'll be in a year, I trust the flow of my life. And I trust that it doesn't need to look perfect to other people on social media. Like, it's okay for me to be a little bit messy and for me to like experiment and try different things and rein my energy in and spend time doing what feels good to me, and worry less about how other people feel about my process if they're not directly involved, you know? Like I consider like very few people's feelings, and not that they don't matter to me, but just that like I don't feel that I am responsible for how they feel. I think, you know, I'm like, okay, who do I want to bring into the future with me? Like, who might this decision impact? But above all else, I consider like, how is what I'm about to do going to make me feel? And that is what all of us need to do more of.